Her name was Judy Buenoano, but history remembers her by a far more chilling moniker, the Black Widow. She was an infamous serial killer, a figure who operated in the shadows of seemingly normal life. Her crimes spanned well over a decade, leaving a trail of death and suspicion. She was accused and ultimately convicted of killing multiple individuals close to her. Beyond the confirmed deaths, she was also accused of attempting to kill another person, a crime that ultimately unraveled her dark secrets. Please like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. The final chapter of Judy Buenoano's life closed on March 30th, 1998. On that date, she faced the ultimate penalty for her crimes. Her execution took place in the state of Florida, a state where her most heinous acts occurred. The method of execution was the electric chair, a stark and final form of justice. Her execution marked a grim historical moment, making her the first woman executed in Florida since 1848. At the time she was put to death, Judy Buenoano was 54 years old. Despite the darkness of her deeds, she was also a grandmother, a stark contrast to her public image as a killer. Before her life took its deadly turn, she had even owned a salon, presenting a facade of ordinary business and community involvement. The crimes attributed to Judy Buenoano were not acts of passion or impulse. They were calculated, deliberate, and meticulously planned. The primary, overriding motive behind her actions was financial gain. She systematically benefited from significant life insurance payouts following the deaths of those closest to her. This cold, monetary drive fueled a pattern of betrayal and murder that shocked investigators. The pattern of death began years before it was ever suspected. Her first known victim was James Goodyear, her first husband. He died tragically in 1971. James Goodyear was an Air Force sergeant serving his country. His death occurred shortly after he returned home from a tour in Vietnam. The initial reported cause of his death was listed as cardiovascular collapse and renal failure. He died in Orlando, Florida, the state that would later hold her accountable. Following his death, Buenoano collected substantial financial benefits. She received a $28,000 life insurance policy payout. Additionally, she collected Veterans Administration payouts totaling $80,000. These sums provided a significant financial windfall, setting a dangerous precedent. Years later, in 1978, another man in her life died. This was Bobby Joe Morris, her boyfriend at the time. He died under circumstances eerily similar to those of James Goodyear. Morris exhibited the same perplexing symptoms that had preceded Goodyear's death. Once again, Judy Buenoano benefited financially from the tragedy. She collected $77,000 in insurance money after Morris's death. The pattern was beginning to form, though it remained hidden from view. The pattern continued, tragically involving her own son, Michael Buenoano. Michael died in 1980. He was partially paralyzed, living with a disability that made him vulnerable. His death was reported as a canoeing accident in Florida. Following Michael's death, Buenoano collected over $100,000. This payout came from insurance policies taken out on her disabled son. The accumulation of wealth through death was becoming a disturbing trend. The string of deaths might have continued unchecked were it not for an attempted murder in 1983. The target was John Gentry, a businessman who was her fiancé at the time. Gentry survived a car explosion, a violent attempt on his life. This wasn't the first time Gentry had suffered mysterious ailments while with Buenoano. He had previously been hospitalized with severe nausea and vomiting. Investigators would later determine that Buenoano had attempted to poison him with paraformaldehyde. The motive for attempting to kill Gentry was likely the same as before. She stood to collect on a $500,000 life insurance policy she had taken out on him. The attempted murder of John Gentry proved to be the critical turning point. The investigation into the car bombing triggered a deeper look into Judy Buenoano's life. Authorities began to notice a disturbing pattern. A series of deaths, all connected to Buenoano, each resulting in significant insurance payouts. This pattern raised immediate and profound suspicion. Investigators decided to revisit the earlier deaths. James Goodyear's body was exhumed in 1984, years after his burial. The exhumation yielded a shocking discovery. Goodyear had not died of natural causes. He died from lethal amounts of arsenic poisoning. This finding confirmed the investigators' worst fears. Based on the similar symptoms and circumstances, authorities concluded that Bobby Jo Morris had also been poisoned. The investigation then turned to the death of her son. Authorities concluded that Michael had also been poisoned before the canoeing incident. Furthermore, they concluded that Michael had been deliberately pushed from the canoe, ensuring his death. As the horrifying details emerged, the media seized upon the story. Judy Buenoano was quickly dubbed the Black Widow, a name that perfectly captured the deadly web she wove around the men in her life. The evidence gathered led to a series of charges and trials. Judy Buenoano was first sentenced for the attempted murder of John Gentry in 1984. For the Gentry case, she received a 12-year prison sentence. However, the investigation into the earlier deaths continued. Later in 1984, she faced trial for the murder of her son Michael. She received a life sentence for Michael's murder. The most severe conviction came in 1985. Judy Buenoano was sentenced to death for the first-degree murder of her first husband, James Goodyear. This death sentence sealed her fate. Judy Buenoano's execution in 1998 marked a grim milestone in Florida's history. It solidified her place in the dark annals of true crime. She was definitively identified not as a grieving widow, but as a calculated killer. Her crimes were driven by a cold, relentless pursuit of greed. The case of the Black Widow remains a chilling example of how financial motive can lead to unspeakable acts, even against those closest to you.